In this video, I want to show how to use the Lasso tool on the Kindle Scribe. To get to the Lasso tool, you just tap on the menu alongside a notebook, and you can choose the pen and some of the other tools here. But we're going to focus on the one that looks like a lasso, and once that is selected, you'll see the icon there. Now we can use the pencil or the stylus to select, say, this header here. And once it is selected, the dotted line is all around it, and you see these four corners. That means that you can move it wherever you want to. You can try moving it down here. And once it settles there, as long as the four corners are there, we can move it again. So we can just get it to wherever we want it. Maybe we'll move it back up to where it was. And then once it's there, we just tap somewhere else on the screen, and there it is. One thing which is kind of handy is if you want to lasso something and you're up against the border of the Scribe, you can just go right off the border and it'll automatically settle in snug against the border, and then you can move it the way I just showed you. There's some other things which you can do with the Lasso tool, which I'll demonstrate now. Say we select these icons which I drew, and once the squares have emerged, you'll see that there are four icons. These are the ones I drew up here. And I'll show how they work from right to left. This one with the three dots would be available only on the Colorsoft version of the Kindle Scribe. And what it does is that anything that's in the selected area, you can change to a different color. So say we wanted it all to be purple, we would tap on that. And some of the colors show up more brightly than others. That purple's a little faded, so let's try green. I think that generally shows up a little better. And then the red shows up even better. And then there's also blue. So it's a handy thing if you're creating a document and you want to change the color of some of the things which you've written. That's what you use those three dots for. The next one over looks like a trash can. And so once you've selected something, if you want to just delete it, you just touch the trash can and away it goes. Now there's also an undo control here, which is an arrow going to the left, so we can put it back there. And let's go back to the Lasso tool, and now we'll do this again to show the other tools. As you move over, the farthest on the left here, it looks like two pages on top of each other, and that's the copy tool. So if I tap that, I now have a version of what I collected or selected. And down here, I think you can see it says copied to clipboard, tap on the page to paste. So if I simply wanted to paste it somewhere else on the page, I would just tap somewhere else on the page, and then it would show up. And then I could move it the way we showed it before. Now, we obviously don't want that superimposed, so we'll hit the trash can on that. If you wanted to cut it instead, then you would use the scissors tool. And in that case, we'd hit cut. Now it's disappeared, and what we cut is now in the clipboard, so we could tap on the page to have it return, and then we could move it to wherever we wanted it. These are handy things to do, and what we've been moving the selected text or drawing here around on this particular page. But what if you wanted to put it on a different page? That gets a little tricky, because let's just unselect this, and say we wanted to, there we have to unselect it. Now we're going to select this over here, and we want to take it to a different page. There's a little extra steps involved in this. I'm going to say we're going to copy it, and if we do any navigating to try to get to a different page, it's going to show up on this page. So for example, if I tap up here because I want to show the home page, you'll see it showed up there, which we didn't want it to do. In order to move it somewhere off the page, we have to go to the pencil tool or some other tool. And now if we go up to the home page, we can go to a different notebook, which I have here. And then we go back to the toolbar and we go to the clipboard. And then this says tap on the page to paste. So now if I tap there, there's the image that we had from a different notebook, which we've moved into an entirely different notebook. So that's a handy feature that enables you to move around quite easily. I'm going to go back to our original notebook here on the home page and go to Lasso Tips. I'm going to demonstrate now why I think the Lasso tool is pretty handy to use. But first I'm going to take advantage of a button that's on the stylus right here, which you can program. And you do that by going up to Settings, and then you look for Pen Settings right there, and then Shortcut Button. Now I've got it set to highlighter so that if I am writing along in my journal or somewhere else and I want to highlight, I just press this button and it'll be a highlighter. But I want to change it now so that when I press on that button, it'll be the Lasso tool that shows up. And then we're going to just give a little demonstration on some writing. And I'd like to think of a topic for a poem. Well, let's just try this one here. We'll call it How to Lasso a Poem. And I'll have that be the title of my poem. And I'll say, first, get off your high horse. And he doesn't much like technology, especially the bit and the spurs. If you have a scribe, it comes with a lasso. Okay, now there's an error. I'm just going to hit the eraser on that one. No need for rope burn on your hands. Now, let's say that I set this up as two different stanzas, and I think it doesn't really need to be two different stanzas. I'm just going to press the button here, and I'm just going to move this like this. I'm just going to nudge it up here, so now our poem only has one stanza, and then I'll tap here to get rid of it. And now that I've tapped and I've taken my finger off of that button, I can continue writing. The most important tip for a Kindle cowboy is to learn how to lasso a poem before the buzzer sounds. You know, this is the kind of thing that if you're actually writing, the pen now has three things that it can do. It can write just as we've done, and it can lasso. So you can maybe make this. This is going to be a one stanza poem, even though I keep setting it up in stanzas. So now we're just going to move it up to there. And also there's the eraser, which I showed. You know, if you do make a mistake or your handwriting is a little hard to read like mine is, you can just go like that. And these are all things you can do without touching the menu for the tools. You know, maybe we just want to move one section of this over so that's an indent, and we want to make it look like that. And there might be a word that we want to use that's different. So we want to say technology, and Instead of using the eraser, you could just use the trash can. But say we want to make that stand out, so we can make that word red. I find that as I've gotten used to, especially using the button, it's very handy to have the lasso available so that I can just put it wherever I want. I hope you found that interesting and useful. It's a way of demonstrating why I think the Kindle Scribe Colorsoft is such a great tool for a writer. In my case, I do a lot of journaling and write poetry, some songs, as well as read my Kindle books. And you can also use the lasso to move annotations around in the active canvas area of reading a Kindle book. I might talk about that on a future video. So I'm Leonard Edgerly, host of the Kindle Chronicles, and I'll keep putting up videos that I hope will be helpful on how to use the Kindle Scribe.